So, Senator, more Ukrainian flags out here than American flags. What say you?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the protest is about. I mean, there's everything from American flags upside down to the gay flags to good to see you. I appreciate it. So she's getting on to me about my language. She's getting on me about my language and come on over.
Come on over. Foul-mouthed lady. Come on over. So why are you out here? Do you want to have these folks lose their jobs?
Did you hear what he said about us?
Do you want to have these folks lose their job?
It's not about people losing their jobs.
Lady, that's it.
Let's
You touch me again, lady, you're going to jail. You got that?
I didn't touch you.
Yes, you did, lady.
What?
You don't touch. You don't touch people.
Why are
But
you here?
that's what you people are here for, right? You burn down the Tesla dealership.
We're here to protest.
You better.
The left is unhinged, and that hysteria is becoming increasingly violent.
Jim, they're taking to the streets or the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh?
They can laugh, but we now have a shocking new study that confirms that the political left is indeed descending into murderous madness. We got the stats and the explanation as to why the left is increasingly embracing what scholars call assassination culture. You are not going to believe this. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to celebrate with you the dawn of a new American golden age that you made possible back on November the 5th. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we dive in here, especially given the left's penchant for violence, we look out for each other here on this channel, and your health is our number one priority. So let's be honest, we're not getting any younger. And if you want to look and feel your best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements designed to help with your every health goal, whether it's boosting your energy or trimming belly fat or supporting healthy blood sugar or pumping your testosterone up or even reducing swelling in your legs. Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients backed by clinical research and manufactured right here in the good old USA. And here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering you an exclusive 35% discount. All you have to do is go to purehealthresearch.com and then use coupon code Turley at checkout. With their 365-day money-back guarantee, there is zero risk in trying something new. So why wait? Head on over to purehealthresearch.com right now, explore their 45 amazing supplements, and save 35% off before this deal ends with coupon code Turley. Don't miss this chance to feel your best. You may have heard about this, but in California, a group of far leftist legislators has introduced what they're calling, I kid you not, the Luigi Mangione Act, which is meant to further regulate health insurance companies. Now, if you're shocked that Democrats would name a bill after an accused killer, a shocking new study will do a lot to explain it. Rutgers University just released a survey that found that support for political violence has surged on the political left ever since the nearly fatal attempt on President Trump's life on J13 in Butler, Pennsylvania. The study calls it assassination culture, and it's becoming more and more widespread. Overall, 31% of respondents in their survey felt that killing, yes, killing Elon Musk is at least, quote, somewhat justified, while another 38% felt the same about President Trump. So more than 1 in 3 respondents believe assassinating either Trump or Musk was morally justifiable. But when the participants were broken down in terms of their political partisan leanings, that's when the real shock came in. 55% of left-leaning respondents said that it would be at least somewhat justifiable to assassinate President Trump. You heard that right. More than half of left-leaning Americans, according to this study, a majority of left-leaning Americans believe assassinating President Trump would be at least somewhat justifiable. The study goes on to reveal that 40% of those surveyed feel violence against Tesla dealerships is an acceptable form of protest, with that number shooting up to nearly 60% for those on the left. Pardon my French, but what the hell is going on here? I mean, there's been a lot of attempts to try to explain this, particularly in relation to the far left echo chambers and social media use. But the real explanation, I believe, goes way beyond that, much, much deeper than simply the internet. Cultural anthropologists have long studied the violence associated with mass hysteria in various cultures. And what they found is that in virtually all cultures, including our own, such hysterical behavior is often chalked up to people either responding to or being possessed by demonic forces. That's key to get here. Violence is either a response to something wicked or demonic, or it's something being perpetrated on behalf of the wicked or demonic. So case in point, do you remember the mass protests against all the COVID restrictions during the pandemic? It was in the spring of 2020, and protesters flooded the streets in all our major cities, demanding that our nation's businesses and churches and schools be allowed to reopen. By the way, they were vindicated, of course, 5 years later. But regardless, if you recall, they were resoundingly denounced by the legacy media as super spreaders. That's when the term started coming out. They were super spreaders. They were accused of endangering grandma. In fact, one commentator on MSNBC even accused them of being bioterrorists. How's that for inflammatory rhetoric? But to make matters even worse, healthcare workers, who were being celebrated as the heroes of the moment, healthcare workers weaponized their profession and responded to the anti-lockdown protests to fully denounce those protesters and accuse them of endangering the lives of others. They would actually get in the way, stand in the way, Tiananmen Square, like in front of the protests, in front of vehicles, to denounce these super spreaders. Now, contrast that reaction to what happened literally just weeks later, after the whole George Floyd incident in the midst of the pandemic, when the pro-life BLM marches and demonstrations started taking over cities around the country, even though lockdowns were still fully in force. Healthcare workers did not just support the protesters. They actually came out and marched with them. They literally marched with them, and the media was right there with them. Look at this headline from the ultra-left Vox News. This is Vox with a V. Study: Trump rallies may be responsible for an estimated 700 COVID-19 deaths. The president is most likely a super spreader. That was October 2020. But contrast this with a headline, again, literally just weeks apart from that. Black Lives Matter protests may have slowed overall spread of coronavirus in Denver and other cities, new study finds. By the way, I'm sure all these studies were busy collecting their USAID checks. So besides the absurdity of the virus being a partisan, the virus apparently attacked only Trump rally attendees, not BLM protesters. Apart from that comical absurdity, I think we can now see what's really going on here with this study and the rise of what they call assassination culture. When the left protests, it's always in response to evil. When the right protests, it is evil. When the left rises up to fight back, it's to respond to fascism. When the right rises up to fight back, it's to promote fascism. When the left rises up, it's to fight against evil. When the right rises up, it is to enforce evil. That's the difference. That's the difference between the lockdown protests and the BLM protests. That's the difference between the BLM riots and January 6th. One is decrying evil, the other one is defending it. That's why BLM protesters are heroes and J6ers are the single greatest threat to American democracy since 9/11. So, of course, we now need to ask, where is this discrepancy coming from? Why is it that good and evil has been effectively recast in leftist terms? And I would argue that is ultimately the result of the triumph of liberalism over the 20th century. Political and cultural and even economic liberalism that, by the way, Trump is completely overturning as we speak. Liberalism, being rooted in the 18th century Enlightenment, liberalism is fundamentally a secular ideology that believes in that it alone has the power to emancipate populations from the evils of the past. So this is key. Liberalism cannot understand itself apart from a good and evil moral frame. And, liberal churches have just basically baptized this liberalism, and they've recalibrated the whole of Christian frames of reference around this secular emancipatory vision. The whole justification for liberalism is that it alone rescues, it emancipates populations from the slavery of sexist, racist, and phobic practices of traditionalist pre-liberal society. So, of course, it started with the women's suffrage movement at the beginning of last century, and then in the 1960s, civil rights movement, and then most recently in LGBT liberation movements. And in the process, all of our cultural institutions, more or less, became captive to this emancipatory moral vision of liberalism. Whether anyone actually believed it or not, of course, is irrelevant. Those in charge of our cultural institutions, our political institutions, our network and cable news, our newspapers, our academia, Hollywood, corporate boardrooms, they all became enforcers of this new moral vision, particularly over the course of the last 30 years. The problem, of course, is that this liberalism evolved into wokeness. And what makes wokeness unique, uniquely pernicious, the key defining feature of wokeness is, of course, wokeness does not tolerate dissent in any way, shape, or form. Just ask Bill Maher, right? Wokeness does not tolerate dissent. All dissent is treated as heresy, and heretics are by definition excommunicated, hence cancel culture. Let's close the loop. Ready? What is assassination culture? It's but the most extreme form of cancel culture. That's all it is. Assassination culture is but the most extreme form of cancel culture. There is only one side in all of this that's all for cancel culture, and that is the left. An assassination culture is simply the most extreme form of a cancel culture that they believe is rooted in their own moral goodness. In the end, to me, it's that simple. The left bought into a secular moral system that morphed into a woke cancel culture that ultimately justifies violence as a means of enforcing excommunication from dissent from their own form of goodness. I honestly, because it's finally morphed into assassination culture, I do believe this all reeks of demise and decline. This is the decay that marks the end of liberalism. So that's the good news. Let's just hope that we are all spared their propensity towards violence, particularly deadly violence, on their way out. Hey there, Turley Talker. You know what? I'd love to hear from you. That's why I'm launching the Dr. Steve Hotline, where you can call in, leave a question, and maybe even hear your own voice featured on an upcoming episode of the show. Whether it's about the latest political shakeup or cultural trends or how we keep pushing forward in this new conservative age, I want to know what's on your mind. Call me at 717-844-5984. Just leave your question. I'll be checking in every single week to answer as many as I can. Again, that's 717-844-5984. Your chance to be a part of the conversation. One more time, 717-844-5984. Give me a call and let's talk.